I tell you what, if you couldn't see up here and you want to see love and light and joy, there was this little girl up here dancing her head off. I just loved it, I loved it, I loved it. It was great. Good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend C.C. Coltrane, and welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Greater Dayton. If you're here for the first time, thanks for sharing your morning with us. And you will find on your bulletin cover a little tear-off strip where you can give us your contact information. You can fill that out, take it over to the Welcome Center after the service, and we will send you periodic emails just updating you about what's happening around here, because we always have something going on, something wonderful, a class or a workshop or a lunch bunch or a book club or something. And then on Wednesdays, I send out a little midweek spiritual pick-me-up, which we would love to send to you. Let's see, you can, like I say, fill that out and take it over to the Welcome Center, or just put it in the offering basket when it comes around. Our pulpit assistant this morning is Lana Mayhew. Our vigil holder is Judy Nusswacker, and our interfaith candle lighting will be done by Linda Andriaco and Lenza Smith. We do this interfaith candle lighting because here at the Center for Spiritual Living, we honor and learn from and respect all of the wisdom of the world's religious traditions, the many, many religious traditions, which is what our founder, Ernest Holmes, did. So during 2017, we're talking, as your bulletin cover will show you, about the shared values that we have, but we're really focusing on and creating a greater sense of the beloved community that comes out of those values, opening ourselves up to new relationships and the wisdom that comes to us from those relationships, learning how to live from our spiritual magnificence in community. Because community is that sense of safety and acceptance that we get in a group of people, a sense that we're loved simply because we are. If you want to be involved in building this beloved community, you can talk with me or just keep your ears open, because pretty soon we're going to be outlining some steps you can take to be sort of in on the ground floor of that. All right, where are our teachers for today? Here's one. Oh, here they are.
Hi.
So here's your teachers for today, children. We are so grateful that you are here, and as you find your teacher, we would love to sing a song for you, to you. The song is called You Are. If you have a music book, it's on page 61. If not, you'll pick up the lyrics in no time. So let's sing to our kids, shall we?
We light this candle in honor of Christianity. Dear friends, if our hearts do not condemn us, we have confidence before God and receive from Him anything we ask, because we keep His commands and do what pleases Him. We light this candle in honor of Islam. Unity is written on the tablet of your heart. You should continue studying that tablet for eternity. You have spent a lifetime reading scriptures and consumed yourself in this pursuit of ignorance. You only have to remember the Word of God and keep on practicing that word, one word. We light this candle in honor of the Sikh religion. God, the helper of the helpless, the strength of the weak, the supporter of the fallen, the true Father of all. Forgive us, O Lord, all our faults. Extend your helping hand to everyone. Grant us the company of those who may help keep your name fresh in our hearts. We light this candle in honor of Buddhism. The only real failure in life is not to be true to the best one knows. We light this candle in honor of the Native American religions. When you know who you are, when your mission is clear and you burn within the inner fire of unbreakable will, no cold can touch your heart, no deluge can dampen your purpose. You know that you are alive. We light this candle in honor of Hinduism. Always aim at the complete harmony of thought and word and deed. Always aim at purifying your thoughts, and everything will be well. We light the final candle in honor of Judaism. Who is wise? One who learns from every man. Who is strong? one who overpowers his inclinations. Who is rich? One who is satisfied with his lot. Who is honorable? One who honors his fellows.
The way it works. We take the good wherever we can find it, making it our own insofar as we understand it. The realization that good is universal and that as much good as an individual is able to incorporate into his life is his to use, is what constitutes the science of mind and spirit by Ernest Holmes. If you could please take these words into that sacred place for a few minutes of contemplation. So I am knowing that right in this place, there is this only power. The only power that is in this universe is God. That magnificent power is within us. It is imbued and ingrained within every ounce of our being, interwoven in the tapestry of our own soul. Knowing that that same energy that lifts us up, breathes us every day, is the same power that is divinely orchestrating this whole entire service. I know that with the music ministry, with the children, with Reverend Cece, all of us who walk through that door, I know that we are enlivened, we are lifted up, and we are so loved and so blessed. And together we say, and so it is. Amen.
Had to send somebody on a Kleenex run. Thank you. This virus apparently has a 1-2 punch. I hope it's not a 1-2-3 because I'm so done with it. I am done being sick. Whew. It just doesn't seem to want to let go. I thought I was all well, and then pow, once again, here I am. So this month in January, as the basis for this discussion of our shared values, we're looking at the foundational beliefs of our philosophy, which give rise to those values. And our founder, Ernest Holmes, as I said, looked through all the spiritual traditions of the world and said, what are the golden threads that weave through all these traditions that unite them all? And one of those golden threads is love. One of those golden threads is compassion. One is we're all in this together. One is we're all one. One is that in the beginning was spirit and only spirit, and spirit brought into being everything that exists. And there are lots and lots of these threads that run through all the world's religious traditions that Holmes kind of gathered together and looked at and pulled together into a practical and useful spiritual philosophy, which he called the science of mind and spirit. And, excuse me, last week we talked about that creative power, however you think about it, the intelligence or the life force of the universe, which goes by thousands of names. God, Allah, Yahweh, Spirit, universal intelligence, first cause, Hashem, the light, the Most High, the Big Bang, whatever you call it. There are thousands of names. And Holmes said, the name doesn't really matter because all of these names are fingers pointing to the truth. They're pointers to the immanent and transcendent life that is present everywhere. And then he said, since we're of God and in God, created by it and from it, we're microcosms of the way it works. We use its power to create our own lives, our own experiences, our circumstances, our relationships, all of it. And the conduits for that power are our thoughts and our beliefs. God calling. He says, listen to that woman. She knows her stuff. Our culture, however, brings us up to believe that we have no power over what it is we see happening out there. That we, we're encouraged to give up our power to outside forces, whether it's our spouse or our parents or our teachers or our kids or the government or our employer. We give away the power to someone else to make us feel happy or not, to make us believe we have good and full and enjoyable lives or not. We treat these outside forces as monoliths and think we don't have any power over them, and that we can't change the effect that they're having on us. But that's not really how it works, and I think we know that. I think on some level we know that. And yet in some areas of our lives, sometimes we pretend not to know it. We still give that power away. I do. It's one of my growing edges. Dr. Holmes wrote this: in our ignorance of the truth, we have completely misused the highest power we possess. And so great is this power, so complete is our freedom in it, so absolute the domain of law through it, that the misuse of this power has brought upon us the very conditions from which we suffer. It is done unto you as you believe, he said, quoting Jesus, of course. And so we suffer, not because suffering is imposed upon us, but because we are ignorant of our true nature. We are enculturated to think that power arises out there instead of in here. We're enculturated not to believe that we have the power. And once we realize that we have the power to define our experience and assign meaning to it, the power to change our beliefs, once we realize the power belongs to us and not those monoliths, then everything changes, or at least has the potential to change. Jesus said, it is done unto you as you believe. And the Buddha said to his followers, everything is based on mind, is led by mind, is fashioned by mind. If you speak and act with a polluted mind, suffering will follow you, as the wheels of the cart follow the footsteps of the ox. If you speak and act with a pure mind, happiness will follow you, as shadow clings to a form. All of the great teachers made some pithy remark telling us that this is where the power lies. Not out there, it's within us. So if you're having physical issues or ailments, Hippocrates, after whom the Hippocratic Oath is named, said, the natural healing force within each one of us is the greatest force in getting well. Well, finally, doctors have picked up on that, and they're teaching mind-body medicine. They're teaching in medical school the power of thoughts and beliefs and emotions, the healing force within each one of us to influence our physical health. So we can't always keep our awareness up to prevent a virus from coming in and giving us a cold, even one that has 2 punches. But science has proven, medicine has proven over and over and over again that a positive attitude helps us heal faster than anything else. That gratitude is a healing force in our lives. That just the idea that life is good and the universe is a friendly place helps us heal. We know that when we change our beliefs, our body responds. And that idea that the way we think and believe shapes our whole life experience, it applies everywhere. It applies in our relationships, in our careers, in our financial lives, in our relationship with God, and in our relationship with ourselves. And it bears upon our whole society, because society is just the collective of what we think and believe, right? So on every level, it is done unto us as we believe. What we believe and think about and focus on, we produce as our experience. There's a little catchphrase, what we think about, we bring about. This is what Ernest Holmes called the universal law of mind, and you may have heard it called the law of attraction or the law of karma or the law of correspondence. It's all the same thing. The idea that the universe responds to our beliefs has permeated our society's thought pretty well, hasn't it? I mean, you see it on Oprah. Joel Osteen preaches about it to thousands of people every week, and it's all over the place. But here's the thing. For me, the rubber has met the road. For me, I have to ask myself, how am I living this? Am I really living this? Or am I just thinking it and talking about it? How is it showing up in my life? How is it operating? Am I living the life I want to live? Am I carrying around the heart I want to carry around? Am I paying attention to my beliefs to be sure they're producing the life experience I want? And if you have any doubt, look at your life, because the life is the outpicturing of the belief. It will show you the outlines of what you believe, and then you have the power to choose to believe something different. Belief really is a choice backed up by repetitive thought until it becomes an automatic thing for us, till it becomes the ground from which we take a step. If we want to know what we believe, we look at our collective life. At the moment, there is a boatload of fear and separation and anger and division and lack, and the collective belief in those things, to whatever degree we support it, the belief that there are things and people to be afraid of, the belief that somebody is doing it to us, those beliefs are showing up in our collective lives across the world. Across the world is showing up as the environmental situation. You know, we have global warming, we have extinction happening, we have sharp division between left and right, and an increasing inability to talk with each other, to find solutions that work for everybody. And almost anything we want to talk about, we can sort of see this fear and unwillingness to understand and lack and anger popping up. And because it seems to be worldwide, we see a lot of negativity in the world more than ever before. Maybe it's time for us more than ever before to realize the vastness of the power that Holmes says we have, the highest power we possess. Maybe it's time for us to really live from our souls rather than from our heads. Time for us to live from what the Sufis call the heart-mind rather than the monkey mind, which is where most of us live, right? I mean, I do. I hear that screaming in there all the time. They're hooting and hollering. And so tomorrow we celebrate Martin Luther King's birthday, and he said a couple of really important things on this topic, and they're important because they're deep spiritual truths, and they're important because of where we are in our history at this moment. All of these issues that we thought, had been dealt with, or that some people thought we had dealt with, just that we're going around the spiral again. And how do we get the viewpoint we need to finally break out of being stuck where we are? We stand in a place where doing the things that the way we've always done them isn't going to work anymore, right? Staying in our ruts, hiding behind our telephone screens, sitting in judgment on others, feeling better than some and worse than others, not fully understanding who we really are. All that's just not going to get the job done. It's not. It's not going to lead us to a loving and peaceful and just world. So here's a really profound, very simple statement from Dr. King. He said, "Love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend." Wow. It's so simple and so hard, isn't it? It's hard. It rings true, but do we live that way? Do we bring love to our enemies? Or not? And enemies are, whether the enemies of the depths of our own consciousness or out there are kind of enemies. Dr. King said, darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. Only love can do that. That rings true to us, but how much time do we spend sitting in darkness, pondering others' darkness? How much time do we spend bringing fear and anger and judgment and hatred to match what we perceive to be fear and anger and judgment and hatred? Whew. This is the edge, and this is the really hard work. King said, peace is not a distant goal we seek, but a means by which we arrive at that goal. There's the key right there. There's the key. Peace is a state of being. It's not a doing or a striving. It's a state of being. It's the goal we seek and the means by which we get there. We arrive at peace by deciding to be peace. Some days better than others. Some seconds better than others. But as we continue to try to be peace in the world, that we get more and more peaceful. It's just how it works. We generate more and more peace in the world. And eventually we find we've arrived at our goal, inner peace. And what happens then is the peace starts to spread. Because the more and more and more people who have arrived at inner peace, the more and more and more inner peace becomes one of the shared values that guides all of us. And we become peace through spiritual practice, through setting our intention to be peace in all that we do. And many times we will still find ourselves trying to create peace or locate it or claw our way through our resentment and our anger and all that other stuff to peace. And that's not how it works. The only thing that works is for us to become peace and remember that it is the path to the goal of peace. We have to watch our thoughts and beliefs. We have to weed out the thoughts that aren't peaceful and weed them out again and weed them out again, because I'll tell you what, they have spread, in my mind, the unpeaceful thoughts have spread a lot of seed. And I don't know whether you've noticed this in your own gardens, but every time you turn the soil, there's a whole new layer of weed seeds that come up and, immediately begin to flourish, especially that sticky stuff. What is it, spurge? That sticky stuff, it's everywhere. We have to weed and weed and weed out the thoughts that don't contribute to what it is we want to see, that don't contribute to the life we want to lead. So we have to pay attention to our thoughts and fertilize the thoughts that are kinder, that are more loving, that lead to more justice in the world. We have to be willing to really become aware of what our beliefs are and change the ones that are making us miserable. Because it really is done unto us as we believe. That's how we take the good wherever we find it and make it our own, as today's reading said. We have the ability to control our thoughts and our feelings and our beliefs, not by squelching them. Not by squelching them. And that's one of the things that society teaches us to do too, is just say no to that. But by asking ourselves a really simple question, what am I making this mean? What meaning am I giving to this experience? If somebody's rude to me in the grocery store, what do I make it mean? I can say, that's a really rude, horrible person. Or I can say, I wonder what kind of day they're having. If somebody has different ideas from me about what to do about healthcare or gun control or poverty or anything like that, I can decide they're an idiot and I'll never learn anything useful from them. Or I can say, I wonder what makes them think that. And then invite conversation. The outcome in my experience will be very different if I do the latter. The outcome in my experience with the rude person in the grocery store will be very different if I consider that they're having a tough time and come at it with compassion. Once I do these kinds of things, once I say, okay, I'm stop and look at the weed that's trying to sprout and decide whether it's good or bad in the plant. And if it's a weed, I'm going to pull it. I'm going to say, I wonder why they think that way, instead of, they don't know what they're talking about. Once I do those things, my spiritual work becomes very apparent to me. For example, Saturday when I go down to the women's rally in downtown Dayton, I want to bring with me an open heart. I want to bring with me a lightness of being. I want to bring peace with me. The Women's March in Washington has spawned all sorts of marches across the country. And here is their mission statement. Listen to this. We stand together in solidarity with our partners and our children for the protection of our rights, our safety, our health, and our families, recognizing that our vibrant and diverse communities are the strength of our country. That's for something. It's not against anything. That is standing for something and not against anything. That's what I want to show up with. When I call my congressman to give my opinion, I want to do so with compassion and an open heart and an open mind. Not, Mr. Portman, you must be an idiot. You know? Or what's the other guy's name? Or Mr. Brown. Well, I don't know what you were thinking, but you surely made a poor decision. That's not what I want to show up with. I want to show up with compassion and love and peace in my heart. When I look at any experience I'm walking through, I want to look with eyes of equanimity and peace and love, because I want to experience equanimity and peace and love in my life. And what will all that accomplish? Well, first of all, I'll have a joyful life, right? I will transform my own experience of life. But when we transform our own experience of life, we walk through the world differently. We do. You know, if you run into that person in the grocery store who's rude, and your approach to them is, I'm sorry you're having such a bad day. I mean, really from the heart, I'm sorry you're having such a bad day. You shift everything, because they might just start having a better day because you were there. When we walk through the world from this place of power, that power that is within us, when we walk through the world from the position of what we want to see in the world, and when our own lives puts us squarely in that mode, the ripple effect is enormous. It's so much more powerful than it would be any other way. A friend of mine said yesterday, I'm worried that we don't have time for spiritual work. There's too much to do. We have to act now. And she was serious, and I feel for her. I believe we don't have time not to do our spiritual work first. I think we have to do that first and then act. And then we act with boldness. We act with power. We remember the highest power we possess, and we act from it. And things change, because that's the way it works. That is the way it works. So will you join me in consciousness for a moment of prayer, please, a moment of contemplation and unity. As we breathe in, remembering that there's only one of us. There is only one life, one mind, one infinite power. It is an ocean of God, of spirit, of life. And we are waves on that ocean, each one of us perfectly individual, perfectly here to give the gift that only we can give, yet united by this ocean of life that supports us and buoys us up, that gives rise to us, that receives us when our individualization is finished, that powers us. And so with that image of the power of the ocean, I know for each one of us that as we are waves on that ocean, we are also supplied by this enormous power. This enormous power that loves us unconditionally and that allows us to say, here is what I want to experience in my life, and to change our minds and to change our beliefs and become that thing in the world. And as we become that thing in the world, it grows. As we become that thing in the world, other people say, I want that too. And they look at us and realize that we have peace because we have become peace. That we have wisdom because we have become wisdom. That we have kindness because we have become kindness. That we experience joy because we have become joy. That we see a just world because we have become justice. And so we simply step into all of those things that make up that world of our vision. The world we want to live in, the world we want to see. We take action from that place of vision and power, believing that it is done unto us as we believe. And knowing this is the absolute truth of this community, I give such thanks. I give thanks for this day. I give thanks for this moment in our evolutionary history when we are all called to stand up and be all that we came here to be. To take on the mantle of all of that power, the greatest power we possess, and to change our world and thus change the world. I give thanks. I release these words knowing that this benevolent, loving universe in which we live has already said yes. It's already done. And we say together, and so it is.
I'm just a thread, a simple thread in this glorious web of life.
We are all just drops within a stream, flowing towards an ocean of light. We may forget where we come from. We may forget
Oh, amen. We now have an opportunity to give to the center in support of the work that we do and our mission and our vision. Your gifts and offerings, let us be here every Sunday to provide programs where our kids can learn to live from their spiritual magnificence, to create a community where we grow together as people of service, and all of that changes so many lives, because as we are changed, we go out into the world and inspire others. We become happier, more productive, more contented, more joyful. So please affirm with me, I am joyful.
I am joyful.
I am free.
I am free.
I am grateful.
I am grateful.
I give with gratitude.
I give with gratitude.
And I say yes.
And I say yes.
To all the good life has to offer.
To all the good life has to offer.
And so it is.
Join us in the Conscious Cafe after the service for a bite to eat and some fellowship. Today is our youth ministry volunteer training potluck luncheon. If you would like to work with our amazing kids, please come. It will start about 15 minutes after the service in the adult classroom, which is right here on the right with all the big white tables. You'll see those.
May I add one thing, Linda?
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, we are really excited about the youth program we're creating. And so we're looking forward for it to be kind of like an organic thing that grows. So any adults who would be interested in sharing just ideas even, or even coming to find out what it's about to see if it might be something you'd be interested in, we'd love to have you, because we're evolving not only as us as adults, but with our youth and together. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So get something to eat and come join us in the adult room. Thanks.
Sure. This thing keeps growing. Please take a look at the calendar page of the bulletin and at the insert for more information on these and other activities coming up. 2 great classes, great winter hike, and much more. So take a look at your bulletin. If you would like prayer after the service, our licensed prayer practitioners would love to pray with you. Yeah, right. If they can speak better than I can. Just look for the people in the white or teal prayer shawls and ask. The prayer practitioners have studied a long time and practiced and prayed for many years to see the spiritual truth about you. This is their gift to you on Sunday as a 1-minute miracle of prayer. Or you can write a written prayer request and put it in the prayer box on the table in the back. And here's a new idea for us. We'll call it a 3-minute rule. For the first 3 minutes after service ends, don't talk to anybody you know. Find someone you don't know well and start a conversation.
Get hugs too.
And if you want. Thanks. Thanks to everybody who made this morning service possible, our ushers, greeters, our practitioners, our welcome team, the Higher Mind Band, and especially you that showed up this morning. Please stand for our closing affirmation, and after that closing song, stand. I am light.
I am light.
I am love.
I am love.
I am peace.
I am peace.
I change the world.
I change the world.
And so it is.
And so it is.